Hi, Math 206. So last in our unit on three-dimensional measurements is temperature, which is usually done along with like mass and volume. So there's three types of measurements that we use for temperature. There's Fahrenheit, Kelvin, and Celsius. Most people are familiar with Fahrenheit because that's the temperature, the measure of temperature that we use here in the U.S. Other areas of the world use Celsius, and Kelvin is used in the scientific community. So degree Kelvin is actually an extension of the Celsius unit, and it goes all the way down to absolute zero. So it turns out that there's only heat, like the measuring cold doesn't really exist. There's only heat and absence of heat. So the complete absence of any heat energy is said to be 0 degrees Kelvin, and that can't actually be achieved anywhere, at least here on Earth. People try to get as close to 0 degrees Kelvin as possible, but it's just not possible here on Earth as far as we know. So here the freezing point of water in this system is 273 degrees Kelvin. Now degrees Celsius is again used for customary temperature measurements in the metric system, which is almost every other part of the world except for the United States. The scale here, we have 100 equal divisions between the freezing point and boiling point of water. So the freezing point of water is 0 degrees Celsius, and its boiling point is 100 degrees Celsius. And degree Fahrenheit is used in the English system. And this scale has 180 equal divisions between freezing and boiling. The freezing point of water is 32 degrees Fahrenheit, and its boiling is 212 degrees Fahrenheit. So again, you subtract these two and you'll get 180, which is like degrees for a line in half of a revolution in a circle. All right, so let's do a conversion here. To convert temperatures from back and forth between Celsius and Fahrenheit, we use the following formulas. To go from Fahrenheit to Celsius, you take degrees Fahrenheit and subtract 32 to go from 32 degrees to 0. And then you multiply by 5/9, which is really the ratio to go from Fahrenheit, which is 180 equal degrees, to Celsius, which has 100 equal degrees. So again, if you look at that ratio, 100 to 180, that does become 5/9. So again, to go from Fahrenheit to Celsius, subtract 32 to go down to 0, and then scale everything by the scale factor 5/9. And to go from Celsius to Fahrenheit, you would do the opposite. You would start with scaling up by 9/5, and then whatever you get there, add 32 degrees to it. So these are kind of like inverse operations here.